Alright, hope everybody's doing well. Got one amazing piece of mail came in here already. It was purchased on Sunday and got here on Thursday. Medium mail from I don't remember exactly where just yet, but it was kind of interesting. I wanted to share with you the amount of videos that come through my feed here. See, if I'm subscribed to say like craft recordings, look at all the craft recordings listings that got put up today. Absolutely insane. It makes it hard to watch everybody's content if all this comes up here. Absolutely insane. But anyway, that's not the part of this particular video here. I wanted to show you something. Essentially, if I had any kind of food or spillable sodas around here, that would be an ultimate fail, and I don't want to have to stamp fail on this video or on my forehead. So anyway, let's get to this without further ado. I've sliced it open, but I've not looked inside. I've only seen one person review this on YouTube. I think that was Mean Mr. Mayo, and the reason why he reviewed this one is because it was Beatle related, and he's a huge Beatles collector, collects everything Beatles. This one is from Indie CD and Vinyl out of Indianapolis, Indiana, so if you know anything about them. My iPhone didn't want to play around with videos today, so I had to use the old camera here. But this is none other than Blindman original motion picture soundtrack. And how did I even know this thing existed? Well, I was looking at Record Store Day listings, and this just showed up on like page 2 or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh. Throw everything aside, I gotta have this one. And the reason why I gotta have this is not because it's a great movie. It's not because I have written Tony Anthony, who is right there, and I've gotten his autograph on a vintage 1972 postcard or whatever from that exact time period this movie came out. But, and it's not because of Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr is right here. Not because it was a Record Store Day release, but because I actually have the movie. The movie isn't all that great. But it was on a kind of a spaghetti westerns collection. I can't remember if it was 2 movies or 4 movies package or whatever, and I just thought it was quirky enough, but I really liked the music. The music is what saved the movie, essentially. This is the first time it's been on vinyl. I don't know what else it's been on. One time it was on CD, and it was very limited, and if you could find a copy, it's around $60+ for the CD of Blindman. So without further ado, let's look at the back of it. So there's Tony Anthony right there. A lot of the video quality is kind of poor, and everybody's got kind of like mustaches and beards and long hair, so it's hard to tell who's Ringo, but I believe that's Ringo right there, and then that is Ringo as well. I think Ringo and Tony, and Tony Anthony is an American actor. He's still alive as well as Ringo Starr, and there's a few more Ringos. There's Ringo right there and that. And I think this came out in 1972. It says 2016, 2023, ABK CO Films, all that good stuff there. Stelvio Cipriani is the one that's responsible for the soundtrack. It's available somewhat on YouTube, but it's really hard to find on YouTube. One of the coolest things I did not notice at first about this thing is it comes with a poster. And I wanted to share with that at this point in time here. It's really huge. It's a good-sized poster here. It just says, Blindman, what did he do? Stole 50 women that belonged to you. And then there is, there's his cap there. It's really hard to show off of here. Large poster. Really cool that it came with that. So I wouldn't, this was essentially $38. There are a few sellers that have it cheaper. It did not sell out on Record Store Day. This is an R-rated movie, from what I can tell. And let's just see if I can get this folded out enough to where you can see it. It's absolutely worth grabbing. There we go. Tony Anthony, Ringo Starr, and Blindman. It's also starring Lloyd Battista, produced by Tony Anthony and Saul Swimmer, directed by Fernando Baldi, and then screenplay by Vincenzo Cerami, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't say anything about Stelvio Cipriani, but this is one of those Italian spaghetti westerns there. Restricted, under 17, blah blah. So that's really cool to have that poster. I'm not sure that I'm going to hang it up or frame it. It's not one of the most iconic posters there. But we'll get to a few of the other items here. And like I said, it's a long time reviewing a whole entire album here. A whole bunch of stuff here. Oops, we'll get to the front here. You're holding in your hands one of the great lost soundtrack albums, Stelvio Cipriani's outstanding orchestral score for Blindman 1971, a key work in the spaghetti western genre, first popularized worldwide by Sergio Leone. The film was directed by, okay, we don't need all that. Let's see, Blindman, blah blah, Grand Slam. Let's see. Fernando Baldi hit a grand slam. Let's see. Baldi. Also hired celebrated composer Stelvio Cipriani, a classical trained jazz pianist who studied with Dave Brubeck in America and returned to his native land to forge a name for himself in Italian cinema, beginning with his scores of 3 spaghetti westerns. 1966 is The Bounty Killers, 1967 The Stranger Returns, which just happened to star Tony Anthony, and 1969 The Law of Violence. So you can read more of that later. And there is Tony and Ringo, really cool. Can't get Ringo Starr's autograph very easily, but this is what they call on, oops, let me get it out of here, blood splatter vinyl. So they're all a little bit different, and wowza, oops, I can flip it around here. Insane! Absolutely one of the wildest record colors I have seen. There's the title, the picture you've seen many times with Tony and Ringo. Tony Anthony and Ringo. And then look at that, just absolutely crazy. Wished I could show you it on the other camera, but it's not wanting to cooperate today. Really crazy. But again, this is not easy to find on YouTube because some of the videos I used to watch have been pulled, sound bites, and it's very iconic. It's very kind of corny at the same time, and it's really good. It's a really good soundtrack. But the movie, it was just kind of so what, and the movie quality isn't that great. You know, it's just, but anyway, really neat thing to have. I'm really happy to have it. It was under $40. Like I said, it was about $10 more than I really wanted to pay. I don't remember what the suggested retail was. Somebody had it for $25 plus shipping, so it worked out to about $35. Or 30 or 35, I don't really remember, but not to worry at all. This is also a limited edition to 1,000, but again, nowhere on this record here or anywhere denotes that it's limited to 1,000. So if you've heard of Blindman, if you've seen Blindman, if you know that Ringo Starr was in a terrible spaghetti western back in like '71, very cool. And I have written to Tony Anthony. He signed a 1970s postcard for me, which I thought was really cool. And he had some sort of little inscription on there. But very neat to have that in my collection, and thank you for watching.
Stupid! You're so stupid!